Cruel Clarissa. Pretty, pink, poisonous. Once there lived a girl called Clarissa. On the outside, she appeared to be the sweetest, kindest, gentlest little girl you could ever meet. Clarissa would wear little old pink dresses, always with matching pink ribbons in her hair. Everything in her bedroom was a shade of pink. Clarissa had pink teddy bears, pink ponies, and a pink vanity set. The only colouring crayons she had were shades of pink. The girl had a collection of antique porcelain dolls, all dressed in pink night dresses, that she tucked up in bed with her when she went to sleep. Clarissa's favourite toy was a miniature pink tea set. She would delight her grandmas and granddads by letting them watch her drink tea from a tiny cup and stuff her face with dozens of fairy cakes with pink icing. Everyone thought the little girl was absolutely adorable. However, this delightful behaviour masked what Clarissa was really like. The girl had a streak of dire cruelty within her, a cruelty towards cats. When she was a baby, Clarissa had grabbed a cat's tail and yanked it as hard as she could. Meow! The creature had hissed at the baby and made her cry. Ever since then, she'd hated the animals, and whenever no one was looking, she would do something beastly to a cat. Clarissa would pour pepper into a cat's food so it had a sneezing fit. A tissue. Squeeze glue onto the branches of a tree so cats would get stuck up there. Tie two cats' tails together so neither could go anywhere. Paint one bright pink so it looked like a stick of candy floss. Attach one to a kite and then launch the terrified creature into the air. She would stick a stamp on one and post it to Australia. Use 100 remote-controlled toy mice to drive a cat crazy. Swap one with her grandma's wig so the cat would be plonked on top of the old lady's head all day. Clarissa had been tormenting the local cats like this for years, but she never had one of her own. As it was her birthday coming up, Clarissa asked her parents for a very special present. "Mama, Papa," the little girl spoke in a sing-song voice to make herself seem sweet. "Yes, my angel from heaven," replied Papa. "I am an ickle bit lonely." "Oh, my sweet baby cakes," said Mama. "Whatever can we do for you, my snowflake?" "Mama, Papa, it would be awfully nice if I had an ickle kitten too." What was she going to say? Love. The girl's parents had tears in their eyes. She had fooled them good and proper. "How did we create a child so perfect?" asked Mama. "Clarissa is better than perfect," replied Papa. The little girl smirked to herself. Mama and Papa couldn't wait until Clarissa's birthday, which was a whole week away, so the next morning they surprised her with a very special present. Mama and Papa took Clarissa up her breakfast tray as they always did. The girl had breakfast served to her in bed every morning, but when they lifted the silver cover off the platter instead of boiled eggs and soldiers, there was the cutest kitten you ever seen. "Surprise!" said Mama and Papa. The kitten's fur was as white as snow. It had the biggest, bluest eyes, the softest paws, and a kissable nose that was a dinky pink and pinky in colour. As Mama handed it to her, the little girl scooped it up in her arms and held it tight. The kitten meowed in pleasure and snuggled up to her. "Meow! Mama, Papa, I love her!" exclaimed Clarissa. "And she is going to love you too," replied Papa. "To the moon and back," added Mama. "What are you going to call her?" Clarissa thought for a moment. "Blossom." "Oh, my darling of darlings, that's the sweetest name I've ever heard," gushed Mamma. "They are both so adorable together, I want to weep," announced Papa. "Happy tears, I hope, Papa?" asked Mamma. "Tears of pure joy," replied Papa. "Good. Now, Blossom is all yours, my sweetest sugar drop. So promise me you'll take good care of her," asked Mamma. "Of course I will, and I just want to say you are the best Papa and Mamma in the world, and I love you heaps and heaps." Mamma and Papa looked at each other, beaming with pride, and left the room. As soon as the door closed, the little girl's cuter-than-cute expression changed. "Right, Blossom," Clarissa snarled. Her voice was deeper now, and the cutesy sing-song tone had vanished. Immediately, the little kitten was shaking with fear. "Cats are vile creatures. Now I have one to torment to my heart's content." "Meow!" cried Blossom. The first thing that cruel Clarissa did was put headphones over the kitten's ears and make her listen to a booming Beethoven symphony really loud. Ba-ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-ba-bum. The little girl laughed, ha 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 ha, as poor Blossom suffered. "Meow!" Clarissa flung Blossom onto the fan hanging from the ceiling in her bedroom and put the speed up as high as it would go. "Meow!" She mixed chili powder in with the cat's food. That meant when the kitten broke wind, she shot up into the air. Poof! Meow! The girl put her hair in curlers and gave Blossom an awful perm. "Meow!" Like a pirate, Clarissa made Blossom walk the plank into the pond. Plop! Meow! She styled her whiskers so it looked as if she had the silly moustache made famous by Spanish surrealist painter Salvador Dali. Woof! Worst of all, the time Clarissa smuggled Blossom into the Crufts dog show under her coat and then let the poor creature loose for the dogs to chase. Woof! Woof! Now, of course, cats are very intelligent beings. If you ever look at a list of animals from cleverest to stupidest, you will see that cats come near the top. You got orangutans, dolphins, elephants, cat, crow, bear, goldfish, slug, sponge, and then humans. One night, while Clarissa was sleeping in her little pink bed, after yet another long day of kitten tormenting, Blossom just managed to squeeze herself out of an open window. The kitten hopped across the roofs of neighbouring houses and followed the sound of distant meows. Blossom found a garden where the local cats were all having their nightly meeting. Under the silvery glow of the moon, the animals were dealing with business. Cat business. There were squabbles over territories, reports of badly behaved dogs, and tales shared of which old ladies were kindest by putting out saucers of milk for them. Overseeing it all was a mangy old tomcat who lived wild on a rubbish dump. Little Blossom was nervous about joining the group at first, but eventually she jumped down off the roof and met her fellow felines. Through tears, Blossom told the other cats about the cruelty she suffered at the hands of her owner. Needless to say, the cats were furious. How could anyone treat a defenceless little kitten like that? Meow! Once Blossom had described Clarissa to them, it turned out that they'd all been victims of this beastly child too. As leader of the Coven of the Cats, the Tomcats announced that they would all work together to take revenge on cruel Clarissa. With a show of paws, the motion was passed. The very next night, under the cover of darkness, the cats would strike. The following morning, Clarissa woke up with just one thing on her mind: kitten punishing. The girl strapped Blossom to a roller skate and propelled her down the stairs. Crunk, crunk, crunk. Clarissa pegged the poor creature to the washing line, right between Papa's underwear and Mamma's frilly knickers. Swing! Clarissa tied the kitten to a model railway track, then flicked a switch to drive a train towards her at speed. Whirr! She attached a homemade contraption to the kitten's back, which dangled a budgergar in a cage in front of her face, just out of reach. Tweet, tweet. Clarissa painted Blossom's face orange and whisked up the fur on her hair. Then she put the kitten in a little black suit with a red tie so she looked like the President of the United States of America. Finally, Clarissa ate 10 tins of baked beans and blew off violently right on top of the kitten's head. Trumpety trump, trump, trump. However, despite all this, the kitten bothering today, Blossom didn't look the least bit bothered. In fact, throughout all these ordeals, the kitten just purred away. Blossom knew what was coming as soon as night fell. "Just you wait until tomorrow, Blossom. Ha ha!" whispered the girl menacingly. She went to bed, dreaming of more ways she could make her kitten suffer. In the middle of the night, the girl had woken up by a foul smell. She realized there was something whiffy right in front of her nose. Opening one eye, she saw a little furry face staring back at her. Opening her other eye, Clarissa realized the terrible truth. She was staring at a cat's bottom. No wonder it was whiffy. It belonged to the dirty old tomcat. "Ah!" Clarissa screamed. The girl tried to get up, but couldn't move. Looking down at her arms, her legs, she realized they were covered in cats. All these strange moggies were pinning her down. "Get off me, you foul creatures!" she screamed, but the cats wouldn't let her go. The girl flailed her arms and legs around, but still they wouldn't let go. Using all her might, Clarissa rolled herself off the bed. Thump! With great difficulty, she stood up. Catching a glimpse of herself in the mirror, to her horror, Clarissa realized she was covered from head to toe in cats. Sitting on top of her head was Blossom herself. The kitten was smiling and purring proudly. Purr, purr. This was revenge. The girl tried to knock the cats off by banging her arms and legs against the furniture in her room, but the creature just dug their sharp claws into her and clung on all the more. "Ow!" yelled the girl. There was nothing for it. Clarissa had to scare the cats off herself. One thing these animals hated was water, so the water raced down the stairs and across the back in the garden of the pond. She took a running jump. Seeing the water ahead, the cats all dived off her and onto the ground. Splosh! Cruel Clarissa landed in the pond. After a moment, she popped her head up out of the cold green water. Weeds stuck to her hair. The cats gathered around the pond. They hissed at her fiercely and reached out their paws to swipe her. Hiss! So the girl ducked her head under the water again and held her breath. Surely the cats would disperse, but when she resurfaced, they were still there. Hiss! Again the outstretched paws all swiped towards her, their claws out. Clarissa hid under water again. This went on all night. As dawn broke, her parents ran into the garden and shooed the cats away. Shoo! Blossom jumped onto the back of the old tomcat and they all darted off. Mamma and Papa dragged their daughter out of the water. "My poor darling!" cried Mamma. "What on earth has happened to our little ray of sunshine?" The girl had turned a nasty shade of green and was shivering with the cold. Brrr! Her teeth were chattering like crazy. Chatter, 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 chatter. A frog was crouched on top of her head. Ribbit! Clarissa coughed and spluttered, and a tadpole she had swallowed shot out of her mouth. Ping! Wah! She wailed. The girl had never felt so sorry for herself in all her life. Cruel Clarissa had never learned her lesson. She would never, ever, ever torment a cat again. The tomcat took Blossom off to a lovely family who had often fed the storyfish and chips. There Blossom stayed, loved by everyone. For her next birthday, Clarissa begged her parents for a very different present. "Mamma, Papa," said the girl. "Yes, my scrumptious little fairy cake," replied Mamma. "Please, can I have an ickle bunny?" The end.